fair there. So next up we have, so it's Vertex and Bongo again, but this time they're going to be against Saymyname and KT. And I was told, or have read, that KT had a 15% handicap for this game, which to me feels a little bit crazy, but maybe they just thought that 5% weren't. Well, yeah, it just is that they didn't think 5% was enough for Genie there. I think, to be honest, though, in that first game, it's hard to say how much of a difference it makes, because a lot of the times with Age of Empires 1 especially, it's like one fight kind of decides, unless it just turns out into an all-out brawl. But Genie did get to the Tool Age first in that third game there, but I don't think he had a huge advantage. But then again, it's also dependent on the civs. There's so many variables that it's difficult. But yeah, 5% isn't a huge amount. 15% feels like quite a lot more, though. Because I feel like in theory, Katie should be able to get up to like the Tool Age like 30 plus seconds faster than everyone else. So we'll see how that affects it. Again, I honestly think even though Cool played fairly well, some of his just decision making wasn't that great. Thanks for the follow, Burslams. I do know it's just around Robin and Rikamaru. So there is 4. I don't know. Maybe we have a challenge link actually. Let me try and find it. I'll just give me a moment. I'll try and find it. I don't know if it's actually been updated. I don't want to. In fact, I'm not going to link it just because it contains spoilers. But yeah, it's 4 teams round robin. So yeah, so there should be 6 games. 2 of the series have already been played so far. I'm going to show you the second of the 2, and then a third series is being played between Bongo Vertex again, and then Spirit. Not Spirit. I was going to say Spirit of the Law then. I have no idea why. I think I saw Spirit of the Universe and that tricked my brain. It's between Vertex and Bongo and Unrestricted and Popeye is what the actual thing is. And then I think it's like the top 2 teams then go into a best of 7 final, I believe is the format. Like I said, there's been this slight unusual thing just because there's some slightly weaker players, no disrespect, but like there's sort of 5 Centurion division level players and then 3 Legion level players, and the Legion level players are being given a handicap to, oh god, hiccups. It's like pizza from earlier I ate coming up with a vengeance. Yeah, to try and balance out the teams a little bit more. Yeah, so the next series is Vertex Bongo against Saymyname KT. And again, apologies for using the base game replay system. Just Capture Age doesn't like that I'm running an older version of the game so that I can still use the replays, just because there was that update earlier in the week for Chronicles. So again, just apologies for that. But the Capture Age does still work for the live version of the game, but doesn't want to work for the last patch. The last patch of the version of the game. So I guess without further ado, we'll just get into the next series. And looks like there. And also for anyone that's just come in, this tournament is 2v2 random maps, random civ. In fact, you should be able to see it on the little card there that I'm displaying on the screen at the moment. And so yeah, first map they got was Citadel, which is interesting that we've got a more closed map compared to the series we've seen just now. And so we'll get ourselves straight into the games.
Yes.
So for anyone that's a bit confused, Cristiano Ronaldo is KT. I'm not entirely sure why he's called himself this. Obviously, I'm guessing it just obviously is Cristiano Ronaldo joke, but I don't know exactly why KT's taken that upon himself. One thing I do remember, I didn't see the games from this series, but I know because I was at work at the time, but I know when it was being played, Saymyname and KT were in voice chat together, yes. Which like in the last game, like in fact you can see it now, KT and Vertex are talking to each other in game. So obviously being able to just talk through voice is always going to give you a huge advantage over having to type. KT always does. Okay, so let me go back there. I want to. Oh no, where's the chat? I missed that. They will play aggro. You think? Yeah, KT always does. The smart thing wouldn't be KT rushes, so Saymyname bronze. I guess that kind of was what Genie and Cool were doing. Genie was kind of trying to rush, whilst Cool built up behind it. But yeah, Vertex and Bongo sort of trying to predict the enemy's strats. Saymyname deletes the back of his base, just so he has sort of easier access to the woodlines hit. Sometimes, I think it basically never happens on 2v2 maps. But yeah, you have these outside berries on Citadels, and sometimes you can be very lucky that, like, you see the woodline here, you could have a berry spawn, like, in this gap here, and I call those the jackpot berries, because you've won big when you get your berries hidden at the back there. But like I said, I think on 2v2, that basically never happens. You do just have these a set of berries outside the front. Normally, yeah, because you have two sets of berries inside. Normally you take the berries nearest your TC first because they're just closest. And normally the best plan is to take these second, so that you can take these before everything starts going off and everyone starts trying to kill each other. And then when everyone does do that, you can come back for these ones later. And then that gives you most access to free food before having to invest in farms. So let's have a look at the civs. So we've actually got Vertex on the Romans. So that's the first Romans we've seen. So I mean, I was going to say this series, but this is obviously the first game of this series. So I guess the first time it's been played from the games today. Babylonians for Bongo. We'll see if Bongo decides to go for compies or if it is the more traditional chariot archer from the Babylonians. Cristiano Bernardo, KT on the Persians, and that's pretty rough for KT. I think Persians, in my opinion, are probably one of the worst civs on Citadels. The only way they really work is if you just can get an early game rush in with them, just because in the Bronze Age they basically don't really have any bonuses working for them at all. The only bonus they really have is faster working stables, and stable units don't tend to be the best units on Citadels, just because obviously every player is behind a wall, so it's usually better to go for those ranged units and the siege, and occasionally like hoplites and stuff depending on your civilization. And to round that out, Greeks are indeed the last civ for Saymyname, so he will have access to the hoplites there. Well, obviously all the civs get access to the hoplites apart from the Persians, but obviously the Greeks most likely to go for the hoplites, with them being much cheaper and much faster. I think them being faster in the Bronze Age is actually the more important bonus there, just because that's the biggest problem. Was before you can get to Iron Age and get aristocracy in, hoplites generally a very, very slow unit, so it's quite easy to just kite them out, even though they are very tanky still. So we'll see what the plays are though. But yeah, KT barracks out front, but not too far forward, as I imagine most of the players will be clicking up. It looks like Vertex literally just clicked there. KT hasn't clicked yet. Maybe just getting one last, villager in before he does so. Still not clicked. Unless this is just fast bronze territory. He's only on 21 vills. Has KT just forgotten to... Oh, wait, what? Oh, wait, wow, he's already on 900. Okay, wait. He'd already clicked ages ago, just already is on 900 food. I guess that's the Persian bonus that's got him so much food there. So is he just going to go for fast bronze? Wait, am I just completely... Oh, I'm on Vertex point of view. I'm so sorry, everyone. I confused myself so much there. Yeah, I was looking at the food and then I was like, wait, what's going on? But yeah, like I said, KT with the 15% handicap should theoretically actually be absolutely flying here. I completely hadn't really taken that into account. And it looks like he probably will just go fast bronze. Yeah, he can literally click it now. If he's going to build the extra villager, which to be honest, I feel like I should have just cancelled that. But yeah, everyone else just hitting tool now. Yeah, KT... Did he... Oh, I've missed so many of the stats already just because I was being an idiot. So sorry for that. But yeah, 26 vills. And he's... Can we see like the actual research? No, it doesn't show the time on here. But yeah, KT going to be up way before everyone else. And again, like I said, he's got the 15% handicap. And I think this is probably going to map. Even like I said, I'm not usually a huge fan of the Persians on this map, but I feel like with essentially just a 15% buff, this is probably one of the strongest maps to have that bonus, just because the early game usually is so passive and like lower skill level. KT can do a fast bronze every day of the week is basically what I'm getting at, and now he's getting to do it 15% faster. So this is going to be a very, very, very strong start for KT, and you can see how far ahead he is in the score already. Part of that might be a bit of exploration, but other part of that is just going to be his way ahead on eco. Other players probably going to be on the bronze, way up to bronze right now, I imagine as well. In fact, after all of that I was saying, Bongo was there first. But there we go, KT does hit around the same time actually. I completely was like making a storyline there and it completely turned out not to be true. So I guess I was just talking rubbish there for the past 2 minutes. But Vertex, a little bit far behind. So what has happened there? I presume he is... Okay, there we go. So, but yeah, anyway, just to actually get back on track instead of me making a prat of myself more. Everyone in the Bronze Age, not too much going on just yet. Extra TCs going down. Greeks going to be in their happy place right now. And Romans don't really line up very well into the Greeks. Babylonians don't really have a power unit that can deal with the Greeks either. So it is going to be very tough for them to deal with the Greek hoplites, I feel. See, both players could potentially just go priests, but I think priests, they're just way more expensive than the Greek hoplites are. And also Greeks can just build their own priests and just convert their hoplites back, which is one of my favourite strats. So yeah, it's compies for KT, which I think, to be fair, usually is the transition, the sort of early game cavalry in the early Bronze Age, I should say, more open maps. But because it's more closed maps, compies make a little bit more sense. But these are just completely generic compies. There's no bonuses to these. It's just one of the best units that the Persians can field in the Bronze Age. So, initial cavalry unit, probably just to do some looking around for Saymyname. It is I expect it will be, as soon as he gets his eco set up, a switch into the hoplites. Yeah, Saymyname, not really any military. Let's have a look. Tab over. Yeah, he's only got the 2, now 3, and now here we go. The academy's coming down. And the gate is being chipped away at. And it looks like both Bongo and Vertex are trying to double up. So forcing purple to come out. Okay, yeah, so they feel like they've pulled KT's bows out. I mean, they are very vulnerable here. And Saymyname only with those couple of cavalry units. Only +2 armour on the bows, only +2 attack though for the cavalry. And this compy is going to be fairly quickly dealt with. That said, hoplite spam should be beginning soon. A little bit thin on the ground for resources at the moment. Gold mining coming in. Not much food. Just needs to get a few more farms set up. Bongo and Vertex definitely on the front foot for the time being. Another big batch of compies coming in from KT though. And do we see any siege workshops? They're not going for that, so we're just going to break through the gate. So it's already looking pretty promising for Vertex and Bongo. First hoplite pops out. A few compies in the back. I don't know. I mean, the hoplites should be able to deal with the cavalry. But yeah, the Babylonian chariot archers in the back being able to pick off some villagers. And like again, as I said in the series before, plus extra pierce armor for those chariots. It's going to make them these compies a little less effective against them as well. Cavalry still running around, and even those speedy Greek hoplites struggling to deal with the situation here. And let's have a look at the villager count. Saymyname must have lost quite a considerable number of villagers at this point. Yeah, Saymyname down to 37 vills. Hoplites again just trying to chase. Where is KT's army? Okay, compies coming in now, trying to track down the chariot archers.
Yes.
No nobility in for Bongo. Maybe he's not on gold yet. Just have a quick look around. It looks like, yeah, he's not gathering any gold. So that nobility would be very useful here, because obviously take even more advantage out of that extra pierce armor if he had that. Another wave of chariot archers comes forward. That gate actually got rebuilt by Saymyname, so I missed that, but Saymayname's smart to put that back up. It's going to stall for a little bit. And Saymyname, how many hoplites are we on here now? 10 at this point. I presume, yeah, Bronze Shield is in. So somehow Saymyname just about clinging on. In fact, yeah, KT, I don't know again if this... I mean, I guess KT's just been left to completely boom up. KT slightly ahead on the villagers. Again, those compies probably going to lose the trade here, but I think should get a decent amount of damage done at the same time. And what the villager numbers down to 32 though for Saymyname. Somehow they're still ahead on the score. And looks like actually, yeah, KT's changed his focus here. But again, this Babylonian chariot archer is going to fare quite nicely into the compies. Still no nobility. He is actually gathering gold now. So hopefully that upgrade comes in soon for him. The stone throw is going to be a little bit tricky to deal with. And we've still got these chariot archers in the back, being herded by the hoplites. Gate. I don't know if that was another gate that got built. Either way, Saymyname trying to get those villager count back up again. A couple of villagers going to go down for sure. Gate trap didn't quite get to that small gate there. KT pushing forward. Looks like the stone thrower did get taken down, but Bongo did lose quite a few units for that. And yeah, KT just managing to get an absolute flood of compies coming forward here. And hoplite numbers at 16 now. Saymyname jumps into the town centre. And chariot archer numbers, not as high as they were, only 10. And yeah, those villagers doing a good job of just darting back and forth. I guess that's trying to just find some loose villagers and just not get caught by the hoplites. Again, you only really get a limited amount of time before those hoplites and the Greeks close the gap. I think the best thing to do here is probably just going to attack down some town centres, but then that gives the hoplites the chance to close the gap. There isn't actually any armour from the storage pit techs on these hoplites, but obviously they still have the 5 base melee armor, which is going to offset quite a bit of that. But yeah, a little bit of a slip up from Saymyname, because usually even the tool age tech pretty cheap to just grab that at some point, and it makes a big difference. Looks like KT. Oh my, okay, I thought that was a huge group then, but that was a huge group though. I heard that everything died and I was looking at this here, but yeah, compies get absolutely splattered. I think Vertex said he was aging up to the Iron Age, I guess. I don't know if Bongo's going to be able to hold this though. There's a large number, 6 stone throwers. KT slinging to say my name there, I guess, trying to help him recover. And villager numbers down to 21 for Say My Name. But KT up on over 100 units here. And this push is looking pretty convincing now. And I don't know, let me check if Vertex is... Yeah, Vertex is going to Iron. But maybe that was a mistake, as his ally is getting pretty flattened here. Yeah, Bongo down to 5 military units. It's 4. Another pump of charges does come up now. And even though Bongo did get that absolutely huge hit on those composite bowmen there, it's still a large number of stone throwers pushing forward. Say My Name with all those hoplites as well now. Might not have many villagers, but he has a lot of hoplites. 26 military units on the field. And that's interesting. Oh no, of course, yeah, Vertex is the Romans. I was thinking, I was on Say My Name's point of view still. But yeah, the swordsman line, again, like I said earlier, the Romans just don't match up very well into the Greeks. The swordsman line, not going to be really effective at all into the hoplites. And I mean, maybe the Holopolis was the go-to option. Should have been the go-to option for Vertex, but then I guess KT already has quite a few stone throwers out in the field, so it's always hard to play the Ballista or Holopolis in that position. Yeah, KT doing his patented forward towering to just secure the position. Like I said, Vertex is in the Iron Age, but with the long swordsman is coming in, but again, they're just, I think even Bronze Age hoplites, yeah, now they do have the +4 in, are going to do a decent job. Priests are here as well to try and get some conversions in. But I think Bongo might just be out of the game here. It's a lot of compies, and that stone thrower is not long for this one. It does get a decent shot in before it goes down. I think that's just not going to be enough here. Bongo trying to hold on. That's the wave long swordsman. It's crossing the map. For some reason, Vertex is researching fanaticism. I don't know if he just doesn't know. You don't need that tech anymore. Don't need that for Legion anymore. Maybe you just wanted fanaticism. I don't know. But I think his long swordsmen aren't really going to be enough. Does KT have alchemy in? Not just yet. Actually, Persians even get alchemy. I can't remember now. Oh no, yeah, they do. It's the last wood upgrade. They don't have, I believe. But yeah, the long sword's just not going to really be able to do anything here. Iron Shield not quite in yet either. So this can take a lot of damage from the towers and the compies. Bongo forced back. And it looked like Say My Name was nearly going to be out of the game. KT came to his rescue. And Say My Name. It's only 23 units, but those units are hoplites. They're fully upgraded. And they're still a pretty decent match into the Iron Age long swordsman. Iron Shield is coming in now for Vertex. But yeah, Katie in... Oh, Katie wasn't even in Iron Age. That's why I didn't have Alchemy. I kind of just... For some reason, I just assumed he already was there. 2k wood for Vertex. Maybe he's going to try and transition into sides. In fact, hoplites are in. Maybe... Okay, cracked open... Was that? No, it can't be an overchop because that wall's there. Has Vertex even noticed? He must have done, yeah. He's pulling back his army to try and deal with that. But I think KT, yes, in fact, he's sending off. Sent to Bongo. Okay, so it's actually Vertex sending Bongo resources here. I thought that was KT slinging again. Vertex with the catapults in, and that is probably going to force KT to retreat. But War Elephants coming in now. War Elephants did get a slight buff to their movement speed in the last community patch, and obviously the Persian bonus increases their speed in volume. Armoured Elephant in straight away. So KT very quick to transition into that unit. That's probably going to do quite well into the catapults now. And a lot of chariot archers. Big hit from the catapult there though. And actually horse archer as well from KT. Yeah, Alchemy is in now. Now these speedy Persian war elephants. And Bongo's tapping, well, calling for the tap out. Vertex, yeah, like I said, has the long swords, and it actually is switching into the ballista at this point. But possibly too late for that transition. I don't know how much gold he really has left as well. You can obviously trade. Actually, has a good patch of gold there, so he does have a decent amount of gold left. But Bongo's just not going to be able to do anything against the armoured elephant in the Iron Age. And yeah, there we go. Wow, so like I said, Saymyname looked like he was on the verge of being eliminated there. But KT came to the rescue with his composite bowman, and just about managed to hold it on. Saymyname did a good job of just like popping those villagers in and out to keep them safe, but then trying to keep as much uptime on the villager gather rate as he could when they were safe. And obviously like the quick re-walling to stop the reinforcements from flooding in as well. And yeah, just quite a nice push from KT. And Bongo wasn't quite able to hold that in the end. I mean, I don't want to say it was all the 15% boost, but maybe it was a little bit to do with that. And also they... Obviously, Vertex and Bongo tried to double team Saymyname. Maybe that was, yeah, maybe slightly disrespecting KT there. Because like I said, on Citadels, you do just get a fairly easy early game. Like I said, I don't usually like the Persians on this map, but when you've got a 13% eco boost. Wasn't it better if the Romans went swords first instead of cav? You mean the Bronze Age? Possibly could have done. It's kind of funny because a lot of players don't really often play infantry in the Bronze Age, but I think possibly he could have done. I don't know if that would have changed the outcome too much. I'm just trying to think like how Saymyname didn't die. Like I said, maybe they probably should have focused down the town centres more. Because they were just trying to like run around, pick off units, and then that allowed Saymyname the time to get the hoplite numbers up. I think probably what we're trying to say, Vertex maybe should have tried to get some priests. I think would have been the best thing. I think the cavalry was probably fine. I think swordsman could have worked as well. I think he either would have been fine, but I think the priest follow-up just to like convert those initial hoplites. And if you convert those initial hoplites, that stops that number from ever getting too high. And then they could have just maybe forward siege workshop and then just push down. Yeah, actually focus down the buildings. Because like I said, the thing Saymyname did a good job at was just hiding those villagers away. Like I said, he did drop all the way down to like 28 at one point, but he had enough resources to like get that hoplite production going, because the Greek hoplites very cheap. In fact, how can you? I think you can see how cheap they even are if you go on the tech tree. Yeah, they're only 48, so they're only like 80 total resources. So they're like not very expensive at all, especially like compared to cavalry. So yeah, maybe he could have just gone straight into the Roman broadsword, and then that also transitions quite nicely into the Iron Age as well. But yeah, I think for me, maybe just like a few additional priests was probably the way to go. And yeah, maybe like an earlier siege workshop, and then some stone throwers could have probably better dealt with KT's big massive compies, because you saw that like big splat on the compies there later on, but by that point KT just had too much eco going, and his own stone throwers to support that. So I think, yeah, like I said, I think swordsman could have worked, but I think it was just the follow-up to the cavalry with the priests, or maybe even the priests or the stone throwers would have been good, but that kind of never came out. And Vertex decided to go to the Iron Age, which I think, obviously you get much better upgrades once you get there, but that gave left Bongo vulnerable, and Bongo got punished there by a good push from KT. So map 2 was coastal, so let's just go on there and let's have a look at what the civs were for this game. So we have, what do we have here? Oh, Phoenicians from Bongo, one of my favourite civs. Excuse me. Get out. So against Persians, Latviat, so he's Phoenicians, Babylonians for Vertex, Latviat for KT, and finally, yeah, like I said, Persians. I mean, Phoenicians are pretty good civ on this map. Obviously, Latviat, just a very scary civ in general. And again, KT does have the 15% handicap. We'll see if he does actually get a faster uptime this time. Saymyname has the Persians as well, so two very strong early game civs from KT Saymayname's side. Like I said, the Phoenicians, pretty good on most maps, but also it's very nice on hybrid maps as well. That wood bonus helping out nicely there. I mean, you can just do this and it shows you that it is indeed coastal. But Vertex then again still thinks he needs to research fanaticism. Actually, just what is the actual effect of it? I can never actually remember what the actual effect of fanaticism is. Okay, maybe he was just researching it for his priests then, so to restore faith faster. Maybe it wasn't for the Legion upgrade. Maybe I'm picking on Vertex too much. Yeah, so in theory, like I said, KT Saymyname should have the early game advantage. Persians again do drop off in the middle game, and then they sort of come back a little bit again in the later stage of the game, although I still think their late game is still a bit lackluster, even with elephants on the field. Like, I'd much rather have like Carthaginian elephants, for example. I feel like, in fact, Carth, I feel like it's basically just a better version of Persians, because Carth still has an early game advantage. They have a slightly better mid game, and their late game was way better. And they have a big focus on elephant units. But yeah, Carth gets the good hoplite line as well, which Persians just don't get at all. And Carth gets the camel bonus as well as the free nobility. Persians get not a right lot really, other than the hunting bonus, which obviously gives them the very strong early game, but as soon as the hunt runs out, you gotta hope you're pretty far ahead as the Persians, usually. usually by that point. Obviously, Saymyname, a very strong player. So, and also, well, the other bonus, of course, for Persians is their faster firing scout ship line, which can make the Civ actually a pretty decent hybrid map Civ. So they're not terrible for this, but I still would prefer like the Phoenicians in the long run, just because of the Phoenician wood bonus. And again, I feel like Phoenician elephants, just being cheaper, are probably better than Persian elephants in the late game as well. I digress. We'll focus on the game at hand. Players getting up towards that 20 villager count. Saymyname a little bit behind there, only on 18. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe he's actually gone for 18 pop up. Let me look. Yes, he has gone for 18 pop up. And do we see a forward vill? Yes, we do. In fact, is that a forward vill? Okay, even more forward. Saymyname is a player I've seen in the past that does often send 2 villagers forward, although usually he sends them together, not separate. He needs to be careful of this lion not to lose too much health on the villager. Gets the high ground there though, and does take care of the lion. It'd be kind of funny we just stole the elephant there. So look, Fog of War, and Bongo is going to spot that now. But Bongo doesn't see the barracks over here. And Tool Age coming in for Saymyname. And I spy the cavalry tech. And there is this stable there. So it is going to be scouts into Bongo. Is Bongo gone? Okay, yeah, he's built a storage pit around here. I was going to say, is he on the water? It doesn't look like he is just yet. He's just go for a sort of Continental style approach. Try and wall himself in behind the wood line. And actually, Bongo on this side looks like he narrowly missed his opponent there. Yeah, he's not quite seen Saymyname, a little bit off the mark. First scout's going to come out though. +2/+2 already in for the scout. There's a little bit of tomfoolery going on around here. Looks like Vertex Village is probably going to survive for now. Barracks going to be more or less walled out though. And that's a villager already, 2 villagers already down. And Bongo is going to be in all sorts of trouble. And wait, GG's already called. Has he actually just tapped out? Or is it a theoretical GG? One of those ones where you just kind of throw it out for the sake of saying it. But yeah, Bongo, I mean, hasn't fully walled in his vills. No, just managed to get that gate up in time. And he is going onto the water now. So if Saymyname can't punish this anytime soon, he could get himself set up quite nicely. These clubbers being a bit annoying. I feel like Saymyname, I mean, he there's no upgrades on this clubber. Yeah, there we go. I was going to say he could literally just turn around and kill that. I'm not really sure why he's running. 0 upgrades on... Okay, the Axa and armor is coming in now, and tool working, in fact. So now they're a bit more scary. But like up until then, he could have just turned around and killed them. And I was going to say... Okay, those 2 units come out for the cleanup. War galley, sorry, ship, scout to ship, I should say. Already in from Vertex, so he got to the water quite early again. Yeah, KT and Saymyname quite ahead on score, and like I said, Bongo losing those villagers. It's down to 16. That's going to put him behind for quite a while. Saymyname only on 21 vills, obviously committed to the scout rush, and again, as I said earlier on, scouts very heavy on the food cost. So can get the damage in if your villagers, if your opponent's open, but it does cost you. Looks like Vertex going to lose a couple of houses. In fact, surely you've got to finish that house off. You don't just leave it on 1 HP. This is madness. I mean, this clubber probably finishes off this house eventually and hopefully kills that. But any hoozle.
Give me some stone.
So yeah, Katie. I don't know if this is like deliberate like play to take advantage of the extra 15% handicap he has to just sit back and use that as like an eco power advantage. Axes still being kind of a nuisance. I don't know if any village... Did you just lame all of those? I think... If they have food on them, I think they weren't lamed. You might just be trying to camp those to prevent Saymyname from taking the food. And archer range going up at the back. Do we have any warships? We do have a couple out. It's going to pick off the villager there, and that dock is going to get denied. That ship is going to go down. So trade's happening all over. Saymyname is going to be able to defend that fishing boat in time. And looks like Vertex, yeah, he's got the +1 range as well. KT is missing the woodworking upgrade, which I feel like hopefully he should be getting that in sometime soon. There we go, woodworking is coming in now. KT's just housed himself, but house just went up. He's on the way to Bronze Age. Might just have a quick... Can I... I'm trying to remember the short keys. I thought there was like some short keys you could use to skip through players. Still going to be in the tool age for most of the other players, I think. Bongo is going to be way behind still, so yeah, 14 villagers. As, yeah, and this one bowman's currently penning in all his villagers and he just resigns. Bongo tapping out, and that early scout raid proving fatal for Bongo. And Vertex didn't really manage to get done against KT on this side. And like I said, KT using that sort of big eco power that he has from the handicap to get himself to Bronze Age. And I think Vertex probably could have won the battle in the water here. You can see there's a slight numbers advantage. But yeah, Bongo just put way too far behind. And KT being in the Bronze Age where no other player was really anywhere near. I mean, 600 food, but on no pop. And Vertex, yeah, not quite 600 himself. So it would have been a little while before any of the other players got to bronze. KT could basically make whatever unit he wanted at this point to try and push through the advantage. So yeah, 2-0 advantage to KT and Saymyname. And we'll see if Vertex and Bongo can bring this one back. But yes, KT sort of managed to turn, well, obviously Citadel just is a closed off map, but he managed to turn that into a sort of closed map as well. And like I said, that's sort of like when you just untouched, then that's where the handicap advantage really starts showing itself. Alliance is going to be the next map. So in a way, like the handicap kind of forces Bongo and Vertex to play more aggressively. Just because they have to make sure that like that 15% isn't just getting KT further and further ahead as the game goes on. And let's have a look. So we have Bongo this time on the Latviat. So I think it was him that was complaining about KT having the Latviat in the last game. So should be quite pleased he has that here. And that's actually not Bongo. Bongo is this player. I saw blue. Yellow is Persians. Persians have been popping up quite a lot this series. In fact, I think we had Persians in the series before as well, at least one of the games. And it is green is the Greeks, so we do see another Greeks game. Obviously, Greeks not as good on the more open maps. And sometimes, yeah, you can see there's quite a lot of wooded area in the middle of the two players. Though it's a bit more open here. It's not impossible to wall this. But yeah, just to round out, it's the Minoans for Saymyname. So yeah, Persians and Latviat swap sides, so it's Vertex and Bongo with the early game advantage. Vertex. Yeah, let's just discussing this again. When the game was live happening, Saymyname and KT were in voice chat together. Obviously, both of them are Vietnamese, so they could communicate very well there. Whereas Vertex and Bongo choosing the old-fashioned hit enter and type your message, which is obviously not great for APM in the heat of battle. So yeah, KT and Saymyname definitely having the comms advantage, which in team games is very important at any level. And see if Vertex can find some extra hunt. He has found an elephant there. He's probably going to grab that. His gazelle are a little bit, they've been a little bit annoying for him. They've all run into the wood line, so that's going to be quite annoying for him to deal with there. So there's another patch of gazelle here, which that might actually be Bongo's patch. I'm just trying to scout around. Oh yeah, because Alliance is the one where there's a bunch of central elephants, isn't there? Those elephants, they're quite far to go, because in Alliance you do spawn quite close to the edge of the map. With that said, Bongo is slightly close to the centre, so he could have maybe gone and grabbed a couple of those centre elephants. And so look, KT just pushing his gazelle, done a quite nice job of doing that there. Saymyname is also doing the same now. Does have a couple of elephant already going there, and is reasonably close to the TC, not too much to complain about there, and that one's literally right next to it. It's as good as you get in. Let's switch to the eco view again as players are going to start clicking. Looks like KT has already clicked to the Bronze Age, to the Tool Age I should say, so probably this time he is actually going to be the first one up. Which is pretty nice for the Greeks actually, as that's definitely the weakest part of the game, is the sort of stone into early tool. And you can see that all the food numbers dip there, so basically everyone's clicked up now. And we see yep, some forward villagers coming out. Yeah, we go. This is what I'm more used to seeing from Saymyname. He sends the double villagers together. I mean, it's just like, if they do get spotted, one villager isn't enough to deal with this, and then you can split them up afterwards. You're going to be tricky. Ships in the night. Sometimes that happens. You're just not paying attention. Both players just went straight past each other. And on this side, Vertex is now sending... I thought maybe that was two villagers, but that's the artifact there. But villager forward as well. So... I don't know. I didn't see if that got capped by Saymyname or not, so I don't know if he will have seen that getting converted. But yeah, KT to Tool, and the next other players are going to be following suit fairly soon. Here we go. Saymyname Bongo basically exactly the same time, which just leaves us with Vertex. And now we're on an even playing field. Vertex a little bit slow. Okay, fair enough. It's the stable, built the barracks at home. That's smart. So yeah, going for the Persian scout rush as well, and I think it looks like he missed the elephant there, so that's a little bit unfortunate that he missed that. Hopefully maybe he does find that at some point. Oh, he's going to spot it now actually, so that's going to help the scout rush come forward. And what have we got here? Scout rush actually from Saymyname. That's slightly unusual for the Minoans. She's got one of each, three of it. Well, I was going to say three of a kind, but that's the same thing, isn't it? So he's got the complete set, is what I was trying to say. Barracks, archery range, and stable. Vertex is sending out his initial scout, +2/+2 already in, and double archery range already up here. Saymyname with a defensive tower already down, and KT trying to bring some axes to defend against Vertex. Actually, this must have been Vertex's first scout over here then. Where is the other one? There it is. And yeah, you don't want to fight the axes with scouts. Axes, A, do more damage, anyway, but B, have bonus damage. So you don't want to do that. And yeah, so Saymyname going for the mixed bag approach. Just a single bowman for the moment and a single scout. Looks like Bongo starts to try a wall. This is quite large reaching walls. A couple more scouts actually that I hadn't noticed that. But yeah, Vertex trying to go for the all-in, but unfortunately Bongo is slightly on the back foot. All his villagers forced essentially idle here. There's a little bit of food left on that gazelle. Another villager going to get caught out. And yeah, I mean, I feel like Bongo's gone for the wall play. Oh, he went for the wall play quite consistently in the series before. I think this was a little bit too much of a stretch in this one that he's gone for. And yeah, these villagers, they do have the needlework in, but it's still going to be tricky against the scouts who can just pull back and forth. And I think this is going to be at least 3 villagers down, if not more. And Bongo once again facing the brunt of Saymaname's scout play. And not many players would go for scouts with the Minoans, but it's definitely working out. Like I said, Bongo just tried to protect a bit too much of an area. Arguably, you could maybe say that's Vertex's fault for not trying to close that part of the map up himself. You can see he's walled off this one side as Bongo tried to wall off everything else. But yeah, a bunch of units lost there. Vertex only has the bowman in defense. And Bongo being forced onto the bows himself now. So no axes on the field to really deal with these scouts. And KT, I think he's been a little bit on the defensive just because of Vertex's scouts. But honestly, he's not been too much touched in this game. Yeah, he's just sort of fending off the odd scout here and there. Saymyname needed KT to come to his rescue in KT's rescue in the Citadel's game earlier on. But oh my god, my words! I'm a bit tired today. I'm sorry. Saymyname needed KT's help in Citadel's game, but Saymyname really pushing out the pressure in this one is what I was trying to say here. And I think Bongo is his last ditch effort now. I think this is him kind of throwing in the towel. Down to 12 villagers. Saymyname, like I said, just bringing down the hurt, and KT all he needs to do is basically just survive it. Pulling the villagers. I think, they do, they're like Viat villagers with the armor upgrade, so pulling the villagers isn't the smartest idea, but KT standing his ground. Vertex still has a few scouts out on the field. But yeah, Saymyname just absolutely dominating in this one. And like I said, Bongo trying to cover a bit too much ground with the walls there. And again, arguably arguably Vertex could have maybe walled up this section of the map himself. That would have made it a lot simpler. But yeah, those early scouts coming in. And like I said, Saymyname just absolutely stamping his foot down on both players here. KT just kind of chilling in this game. He already did his heavy lifting earlier in the series. I mean, Bongo is still playing on, but again, he's only 15 full still. Just have a bit of food left in those berries. But yeah, Bongo just taps out. And that's GG. So that's another 3-0. Going the other way. So a lot of people were expecting that Bongo and Vertex were just going to win all the series, which turned out to not be the case here. 15% advantage for KT was obviously a lot stronger than Genie had in his game. It was only 5%. So I think we're still ironing out for when it comes to the actual crunch games. We'll sort out what's going on with that. I think, like I said, in this game here, though, Saymyname was the sort of key player. maybe you could argue that in that Citadel game that maybe KT couldn't have got as powerful as a push as he maybe could have done. But again, I think partly it was the first 2 games a bit down to the map, and that allowed KT to sort of play a little bit more defensively in the earlier game, build up that big eco advantage, and then push through with that. But again, I think in this third game here, I feel like Saymyname's position was just so strong. And KT did a good job of surviving Vertex's early attacks, so I don't want to take anything away from him. Like, you still see a couple of scouts there being an annoyance. So yeah, he played a good defensive game here, but Saymyname definitely being the X factor in this one. And yeah, there we go. So